Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Red Zone. This is Revolution Leftist Sports Show. Thank you. I love that intro music. I remember I had these friends that made really chaotic metal, and I was talking to them while they were making their second record, and I was like, how's the second record? It's going to be crazier than the last record. They're like, I don't know, man. This new record makes you headbang like this. And ever since they said that, Jeremy Farias, ever since you said that, I've always tried to make songs that make you headbang like this. And that's as close as I'm going to get that intro music. This is as close as I get to the side-to-side headbang. Hope you guys all enjoy it. And if not, fuck it. I'm still playing it anyways. Let me bring in the hosts. The main host is my partner in crime on Saturdays. Sadly, our wonderful discussion on the history of house music with a deep dive into the class politics of disco. It's gone. You two pulled it. There's still hope. Let's bring in Marcus from the Left Flank Vets.
It was because you were playing the video, wasn't it?
Because I was playing. You know what video it was?
Which one?
The CC Peniston video. That dude co-wrote a song on.
It's like he's credited on the song. We've got that motherfucker there. He's on.
I wrote that in my response to the.
They're like, we don't care.
And coming all the way live from a bunker somewhere in North Carolina, we won't tell you where, because if you know, he just might shoot. He is Mac. You don't know history.
What's up, everybody?
I will say on Bernie Worrell, great keyboard player from Parliament Funkadelic. Thank you for watching the show. I don't think it's the same person. Just kidding. I believe the original Bernie Worrell passed away. But we are going to do more music shows. The response from a show that got pulled, which I think is kind of incredible, has been, we really love the show. Can you do this? Can you go deeper into this thing of house, this part of house? So I talk with Pascal, and I think probably once a month we're going to do one of these fun music shows. I've reached out to some friends of mine that were part of the early years of the thrash metal phenomenon in the Bay Area. So I think we're going to do some sort of like thrash metal show. And then I reached out to these guys that are making a really interesting, they have a interesting hip hop series called Crate 808. And they're doing a series on the greatest 3 album runs of any hip hop artist.
Oh, damn. That'll be a good one, man.
Oh, dude, some of the like Wu-Tang's first 3. So DMX had a 3 album run.
Yeah.
Of course, had Tribe's 3 album run.
Oh, yeah.
Dilla's 3-album run, Kendrick Lamar's 3-album run. So I reached out. I was like, hey, would you guys be interested in coming on my show? And they were like, fuck yeah, we'd be honored. So
Nice.
we're working that out for the end of April. That'll be a Saturday show, Marcus. So get ready for that. And on the sports tip, when I'm not doing this shit, when I'm not reading, which literally I have to do when I get off this show, I have to finish Cedric Johnson's book. He's coming on tomorrow. I've been watching these fight shows where they kind of do either takedowns of fake martial arts gurus, you know, the black guy.
You know about the Oscars. That's too easy. I'm sorry. That one was too easy.
Jason throwing softballs to you, Marcus.
I know, right?
What I was going to say was one of the guys that has one of these bigger fight channels is agreed to come on the show in the summertime. His name is Steven Williams. He has a channel called Steven Strangles. And he definitely gives, he's a literal martial arts coach and came up with a lot of big time MMA guys. But you know that the guy in Detroit, they'll tell you like, if someone puts a gun in your chest, you just grab the gun like this. And then, that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
He debunks that guy's like, just from a fighting standpoint like that, you can't do that. This is the leverage you need. So I asked him if he'd be willing to come on and talk about fighting and of course, competitive fighting that we probably all watch. And also the role of these self-defense gurus that have kind of come up out of nowhere.
No, let's not say they came out of nowhere. They come from this thing called the United States military because so many of them are fucking vets. It's not even funny. And the kicker in all this, like when I joined the Army, it was like dirty boxing and like 2 judo throws. Like that was Army combatives. Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward like 10 years later and there's like whole MMA training academies in the Marine Corps and the Army now. So
really? The martial arts instructor. I went through the school.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. And the thing is, it's like you get motherfucked. Like you're not really worth a shit until you're like level 3, like when you can go and become an instructor and actually teach people in your units. But like guys that are like level 1 and level 2 will go up to people that are like, actually, like, dude, I boxed professionally for like 12 years. Like, am I getting on the ground? Absolutely not, because you're going to twist me into a pretzel and make me cry a little bit. But I was like, on my feet. You're not beating me, dude. I don't give a fuck if you're level 1 and level 2 certified. I'm gonna punch you once right in the temple and watch you go to sleep.
I actually, so like this when I went through school to become an instructor, and like that's the thing too, is like the whole time you're really not shit until you get into the instructor school. Like if you're in the regular like military, you're not shit. But there's a schoolhouse in Quantico where these people are now paid military fighters.
Yeah,
like all they do is train. That's their complete job, is to train.
Yeah, it's like Tim Kennedy in the Army. He was a qualified Green Beret, but his last 3 years on active duty, he was literally paid Army paycheck to go fight in Strike Force. Like it's like these, motherfucker.
Like these dudes, they got a building, a huge like gym with like mats, like bags all around. Regular like lifting gym. They got like the CrossFit stuff on the outside, like anything that they want. But I remember going through the school, and for one, there was like this 6'4" gunny that was just like a brick shit house. He didn't have any fighting experience. He was just huge and strong as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was about a 5'0" Filipino gunny who was a Golden Gloves boxer at like feather something, right?
Well, he was probably fighting at probably 115.
Buck 10 soaking wet, right? Like, and this dude, like you come up and you're like, look at this little motherfucker. Come here, little guy. And the amount of times he would hit like every rib in my rib cage, like he would play me like a fucking xylophone. And like that's when you learn your lessons. But don't ever join the military, folks. There's a better way to learn how to fight.
Yeah, don't ever do that. There's probably great training gyms around your area. So go join those. You won't be giving up your life in a worthless cause like you will in the military. But
here, check out. This is Homie's video. I'll just let you guys see like a couple minutes of it. Check it out.
God damn.
TikTok before he got banned, Instagram, or YouTube. I was very shocked to see that he has 1 million followers. Most of what he puts out is completely ridiculous. When I first saw it, I was like, is this man being satirical? I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do. Nevertheless, the stuff is very entertaining and some of it can be very, very dangerous. So what you see, you got to take with a grain of salt. Anyway, let's get into it.
So if they come at you, what you don't want to do is try to stay in the middle like you're martial arts, correct?
It's like Pancrase 93. If they all just behave like Boss Rutan simultaneously and palm strike you in your delts.
Moving in a circle, trying to block, trying to hit, that's not going to work.
Yo. Look at him. He threw a little kick in there. I saw that little kick there.
As you try to back up, you're going to get swarmed and you're still going to be dominated and you're going to lose.
I like that. And you're going to lose. You're going to get dominated and you're going to lose.
What you should do is this.
We're starting off with a bang here. His hands are down by his chest. Strike number 1. His chin's up in the air. Strike number 2.
And as you can see, when you move in a circle around the crowd, you're able to attack each attacker individually.
See, a lot of what these people do is they tell you, listen, if you do this, if you move in a circle, that's correct. But you have to do it with your hands up, your chin down. And also, how the do I get out of the circle? How do I get outside of the circle of the people that are trying to beat me up? What's really disturbing, more than the video even, is this has over 1 million views and people love it. Love these videos. I appreciate the time and effort you and your whole team put into making these videos for us. He got a few of his buddies to surround him and then patty cake his shoulder blades. This is probably the most useful one I must have seen from this channel so far.
He's going to try to hold. We come straight in. The reason this works is because there's no muscle groups on top of the hand.
Well, there's nothing necessarily wrong about this. He's pulling the wrist, his own wrist, against the opposable thumbs, which obviously is going to have some sort of an effect. Now, what he's not taking into account is when you grab your own fist, you leave your head defenseless. There's other ways of getting your wrist free in this circumstance. One would be to sucker punch him on the side of his chin, to sucker punch him behind the ear to mess up his equilibrium, to hit him with a hard elbow on the bridge of his nose, things like that. Grabbing your own fist and pulling back is a little antiquated and it leaves you vulnerable to being attacked.
We're here doing a demo with a volunteer from Detroit. Thank you, sir. He's gone through several moves already, through techniques that...
He just pumped to be there. That's probably his cousin, Donnie Brown. Dale Brown's cousin, Donnie Brown. Never met you before.
I'll come forward.
Oh, so he's clearing the arm from his center line and using that to flank the attacker. Now, there's nothing objectively wrong with that.
Just like from here,
He lost his balance a little there, too, though. Dale, not to nitpick, right? But I saw you lose your footing right there.
Just like
So like I said, that's not objectively the worst thing you'll ever see in your entire life. What really grinds my gears, though, is what he does after he gets the flank position.
Or if you want to take further action.
So you don't know this guy from a hole in the wall, right? You just asked him to be on your video, but you're grabbing this guy by the face. That's some megalomaniac type behavior. That's a little insane. You don't know this person. You're putting your dirty ass hands in and around his eyes. I can't say that I support that.
So what we do?
The chuckle. Listen to that chuckle. Even Dale laughed at that one.
So what we do? We want to take further action from there. Here.
Oh my God, these guys are nuts. Where do I even start? The flank option's not horrible. I'll give him a...
All right, I've seen enough. And that's it. Like,
Yo, Jason, he was.
There's
that
no
fucked up dude
montage.
was a cop, wasn't he? He was a cop at one point, wasn't he?
Of course,
Who?
mall cop, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy,
The dude being critiqued.
yeah, he's supposed to have been some sort of cop or military guy. Dude, tell me that's not the funniest. It gets funnier because he does that thing. It was like, and then you grab him by the nose.
Oh no. Oh.
Like, yeah, don't.
Listen, the only time you even manipulate someone's nose is if they got their chin tucked. You just get up under the nose to raise it because it's just the natural reaction of the body, and then you lock in your rear naked. Money, right? Like that's.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
the face grab. The face grab is a good technique, because you want some upper lip. The point is to get some upper lip between the pinky and the thumb. Okay, he didn't go to the technical aspects of the technique. Okay, pinky and thumb, upper lip. The rest of the nose encircled by the other 3 fingers, and you could cut off the airway.
the move is called the Joker. Okay, like that's what it is.
when I watched that video like 3 times in a row because I couldn't stop laughing because the frustration in this man's face of watching this other man, because he knows there's people watching this shit and they're gonna try to use these things. Like I remember I was dating this woman and she asked me to help her move, and I was helping her move some bigger stuff out of her place in San Francisco, and she moved a couch onto the street, and she had called this number that in San Francisco they come if you put your couch in the street, they'll come and take your couch. And her neighbor, who she didn't even know, ran out of his house, ran into her apartment, and stood over her, and started yelling at her. And I was like, is that your landlord or something? And she goes, I've never seen that man before. She goes, I think he lives next door. And I was like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. And I went outside. I was like, hey man, what the fuck is your problem? And he's like, I don't want a fucking couch on my sidewalk. You're gonna have homeless people living here. I was like, oh, okay. Well, and she goes, sir, I tried to tell you that I called the number and they're gonna come get the couch. She goes, they better come get it. He starts just hollering and hollering. And I was like, hey, you really need to calm down. It was extremely disrespectful. And he gets in my face. He goes, you think you're tough? And he's from the East Coast, so he's doing that thing where he's like, he's gonna talk real tough about me. And I'm like, oh, okay. You're an East Coast guy. Okay. Check this out, homeboy. If you ever say that shit again, I'll slap the fuck out of you. He's like, what the fuck are you gonna do, buddy? What the fuck are you gonna do? And he gets in one of those I've taken a cardio kickboxing stances.
He did some Taibo at one point.
Billy Blanks.
Listen, I learned from the greatest fighter of all time, Billy fucking Blanks. Okay, what are you gonna do, bro?
This grown ass man cardio kickbox stanced me, and I looked. I couldn't even take him seriously. And the young lady was like, oh, like she was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Because I think she thought that it was about to get real, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna get bad. And so dude tries to swing, and I just I'm slapping his hand. I just started slapping his hand, and he goes,
Jesus Christ.
I'm just picturing him like even like softly doing like the Mortal Kombat thing.
He was doing everything that when you're taking like a cardio kickboxing class, but you don't really understand how to fight for real, and you're not getting into a fighting like my first. Whenever I'm in danger, and I'm not look, I'm telling everybody right now that God's honest truth, I'm not a tough guy. I've gotten fucked up before by parents, by people on the street. I've been fucked up.
See, that's how I know you've been in a fight, Jason, because like real people that like have resorted to fisticuffs, like you've gotten your ass beat a couple times, at least a couple times.
There are certain people,
fight, right? The world's a better place when people aren't fighting, right? But my first instinct is, okay, get in the stance. And when homie is doing the kickboxing shit, I was like, oh, you think that's real?
You might as well pull out a magic wand, motherfucker.
Grown man. I had open-handed. A grown man was getting slapped to the point where it was like,
oh shit.
He had to go back in his house. It was embarrassing.
Well, okay. And we got to do this real quick because we spent now 15 minutes talking about fighting. We've only made a joke about the Oscars.
Before Marcus gets started, we are officially switching the premise of the show to Beyond the Red Carpet, and we're just talking straight Oscars for the rest of the time. All right. So if you have a gripe in chat about who won Best Art Direction, let us know now, and we will cover it when we get to it. All right. But we're starting with Best Sound Editing first. Okay?
Mac, true story. My buddy Conan, because we did an Oscar show last year, and it was one of the better shows we had done. It was like we had Ben Burgess, my fucking little brother came on. All these people were on this Oscar show we were talking about. So Conan goes, "Are we gonna do another Oscar stream?" I was like, "I don't have it in me, man." to care, and there's too much shit I'm doing seriously that I can't do this stuff. I don't have it
Imagine
in
if
me.
you caught that shit live.
We would have been watching it live. I just didn't have it in me, brother. I
Yeah,
didn't.
word. Yeah,
I didn't have
It's because we're talking about some important shit. Like, do I like some of these movies that people are in? Absolutely. Right. But you know what I'm not getting twisted over? A bunch of millionaires making fun of each other, and then one millionaire goes up and slaps another millionaire. I don't give a fuck. Okay.
Never
Hey,
seen that shit before in my life. That was. So I'll say this, and I'm gonna actually go off screen and give the show to the hosts. I do enjoy watching you two. Pascal and we did an interview today with Professor Joy James, and it was about Black people in class and underclass ideology. And Pascal calls everyone at 4:00 in the morning my time, and is yelling because Djene, Bajalan, and Stefan are in the UK, so they're awake.
they're up.
He's like, that shit wasn't real. Like my phone rings, and it's just Pascal yelling that the shit was fake. And I'm like, dude, whenever he calls, if you are in the circle and you call me anytime, I'm gonna answer the phone. I'm gonna assume it's emergency, right?
I know. Trust me, I was smashed one night and I called you talking about we need to do all this history shit. You were like, Mac, I got you, homie, but like it's 3 a.m. Go to bed.
You in the circle, I'm gonna answer. You know why I'm gonna answer the phone? 2 reasons. One, I'm incredibly depressed and I don't sleep. Number 2, I'm just gonna assume that you're going through something and you need someone to talk to, or something great, crazy just happened to you, or great just happened to you. But if you're calling me, it's not to shoot the shit at 3:00 in the morning. That's what I'm assuming.
That's what I kind of did though to you, and I'm sorry about that.
But that seems like I'll say
again,
100%.
We ain't in the greatest space. So Pascal,
100% of the
time. So I'm like, oh, Negro, please. And then I don't know what happened, but the whole 3 hours later, when I'm awake and we're getting ready to do this recording earlier today, his whole shit done shifted. And now he thinks it's real. But basically the bottom line is we're doing this thing about underclass ideology. And we've been talking about the fact that, and we did this on the Saturday show, Marcus, when talking about the redefinition of the word coon.
Oh, wow.
That when you say coon is like acting white and changing the entire definition of what it means, that means that literally cooning is the true Black experience. And for Will Smith to go up there and slap the shit out of dude on some silly shit, like if I was there and Chris Rock was like, that's why you got a skinny bitch with big titties, I'd have been like, all right, whatever, I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna go home and we'll be fine. It's fine. That's nothing to slap you over. That's nothing to slap you over.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I get why he's pissed off, right? Because if I had a partner like we were talking about before we started, Jason, like they've been together over 20 years, man.
20 years.
Right? And they got some weird shit going on, allegedly, because I'm not in the mood to like get sued. Okay, but allegedly. All right. Your boy's trying to go to law school. I know the word to use allegedly to avoid lawsuits.
I want that Will Smith smoke.
All right. Yeah, fuck no, dude.
Give me the slap. Don't send the lawyers.
That's right. It's like, yo, Marcus, like he's like, yo, I'm gonna sue you for $12 million. I'm like, bitch, you can't get water from a rock. Come on now. But like, I get it. Like, especially like knowing that, especially with like today's beauty standards, like women losing their hair, and it's not just like on top of your head, like it's their eyebrows, it's their eyelashes, it's that's how bad alopecia can hit you, right? So Jada just took that shit down. And Djene, still a dime piece to this day. Like I've had a crush on her for fucking probably 25 years, right? Mm-hmm. But like at a certain point, and I get it. Like I've sat front row at comedy shows and people are like, yo, look at Gimli right there, that short, white, dwarf motherfucker with the beard. I get it. It's funny, right? But like at a certain point, like if you're like, yo, homie, you're looking a little thick. And I'm like, bro, I've also had 2 spinal surgeries, motherfucker, because I jumped out of planes and acted like an asshole for how many years in this country? Like, I will go up there and mud stomp your ass, man. Shut the fuck up. So I get it. Right? Like, watch that line. But like all that bullshit on Twitter, like with these comedians, like, oh, we're gonna have to worry about getting physically assaulted just for telling a joke. No, Kathy Griffin,
first time somebody walked up and tried to assault a comedian.
Hell no.
Yeah. Right.
No.
And like, and Mark is like, I'm sure you saw that shit where like the MD was like, well, If Will Smith would have went up there and smacked Betty White, it would have killed her. She would have fallen back and cracked her skull, and that would have been a murder. And look at
what?
look at
What would you
violence.
slap Betty
Yes.
White?
Jason, an actual medical doctor, because she puts MD in her fucking Twitter handle, right, is saying this shit. And I'm like, yo. And then on top of that, you got the motherfuckers that are like, you see this? This is just going to make violence acceptable. And I'm like, yo, I watched the Srebrenica Square bombing in 96 in like homeroom in high school, where 80-something people were fucking eviscerated by fucking mortars and bombs. And they just had that shit like on TV in homeroom. Like, come on now. You know, like this is fucking ridiculous, man.
Oh God, what did Marcus send me?
No,
I'm afraid to look.
no. So, and this is the thing.
You have to
and like,
share this? Am I sharing this?
if you want, yeah, it's like, so you gotta pay. Like, I haven't read it. You gotta pay for it. But so,
oh no, you did not. Oh,
Hold on. I'm gonna share the screen. Hold on. Keep talking. I'll share the screen.
oh, Marcus.
so I'll say, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I gotta like I did not grow up in a rough neighborhood. But shit happened on the playground. Okay, what I saw last night, especially like I've worked in clubs, I've bounced, I've bartended, I've bar backed, I've done it all. Seeing some dude say something, I don't even know, seeing a person say something, and then another person slap him, and then that be the end of it. I've seen that so many times. It's like changing your underwear and breathing. If you go out to a bar twice a week, you're going to see that play out often.
Yeah.
Now, these motherfuckers right here want to take that shit. And like, that's the thing. It's like the only difference, it was the Oscars. I've never seen a motherfucker worth $300 million slap another motherfucker worth $100 million. I never seen that shit before.
That's crazy shit. The whole thing was it was. I was telling Mac before you came on. I was like, you could see Chris Rock look like he wanted to retaliate, and then real quickly he saw his whole life flash before his eyes, and all he saw was the money. Just
well, that's the thing. But that's the thing is that every day that same scenario that happened a million times last night in clubs and bars and pubs across the world. Somebody said some shit out of line. Does it deserve violence? No. But if someone gets slapped and then you're able to just literally instantly go on with the rest of your life, you got a serious verbal warning, right? Was it violence? Was it violence? Or was it just a very serious verbal warning?
Yo, but Marcus, let's be honest. In the United States, like we bounce too, right? Like we both bounce. We've both been there. Like I've seen one man open hand slap another, and it was so embarrassing for the dude that got slapped because the dude did not respect him enough to just fucking knock his lights out. That they go off and away. Do that someplace like we'll say the UK. Go ahead and open hand slap somebody in the UK. Not only is the dude who got slapped going to come after you, but 12 of his buddies that weren't even at the pub you were at are just going to come rolling down the street and beat that ass, right?
But
like,
but this is where too. It's like think of it in a friend group though, right? Think of it in especially too. It's like if this is a friend group or this is a group where you might not be friends, but you're in a group of people and you're like, I'm friends with somebody who still invites this asshole to places. Sometimes that asshole gets slapped, and like nothing, and then like. So that's my thing, right? This is the most normal ass shit that any of these motherfuckers have done in decades.
What are you talking about? They literally just named a doctrine over Will Smith, Marcus. He's elevating violence in war zones right now.
But that's the problem, okay? That's the fucking problem. Will Smith, hey, like that's the thing is like you saw him like when he says the joke, Will Smith laughs at first, but you see Jada and like Jada was not happy
Jada with the eye roll.
Hey man, like that's the thing is like whatever it is, like all I'm saying is that it was the most normal thing that has probably ever happened in the Oscars.
Okay, can we talk
everybody
about...
got to take it and lose their fucking minds on how toxic masculinity is seeping into black males and destroying the democracy in America or some shit, and causing fucking Putin to attack Ukraine. Like, you can't, literally, you need, go outside and meet normal fucking human people, because someone's slapping somebody else for saying some silly shit. Like, that's a Monday. That's
I mean, and yo, what we need to be talking about is the reactions from Lupita Nyong'o and Nicole Kidman.
I didn't
Because
see
Nicole Kidman, bro, her jaw dropped. Like, Keith Urban had put his suit jacket over her shoulders, and she had nothing on. She was just like, and Lupita is just sitting in the back, like, oh goddamn, that escalated quickly,
Yeah, and it's like, how do you do all these movies? You got movies with like blood and fucking guts flying everywhere. It's like, you just can't watch. You can't watch a motherfucker get slapped. Like, how do you live?
Yeah. Another thing though, you have to understand about the movies. Next time you watch a movie, look for this credit: stand-in.
Word.
So
is there violence in this scene? Oh no.
So when you see a film, right? When films are made, you have to get light right. I don't know how much time podcasters spend on getting their light right, but when you're filming a movie, filming a video, light is extremely important, especially when dealing with different people of color, right? Because we're darker, we absorb light, so you need a lot of light. So if you're doing a movie,
is that science, Jason? Is that science?
You stand on a marker. Wait hours for the light to get right. So if you think Nicole Kidman is standing on the mark waiting for light right, sorry.
Oh God, no.
There's a stand-in standing there the whole time. That's the same height and around the same complexion. And when they're ready, when they're ready, they go bring in Nicole, and she stands on the thing and she goes, no. And then she goes back in her
And the thing is, if you're talking about Nicole Kidman stand-in, that poor girl is being sunburnt to hell and gone with all that light. So she went from like that almost opaque skin like I got, and now she's like lobster red, and the director's getting pissed. Like, listen, we're gonna have to get another stand-in because she's been here for 9 hours.
Bring in the second albino.
Looks like a leather straw. Get her out of here.
Jesus Christ. This is a sports show, and we haven't talked about sports at all yet.
We've been talking about fighting the whole time.
I'm so sorry. I just want to say to the audience and to whoever's going to listen to this on the audio only podcast, every time I do this show, I tell myself I'm gonna give Marcus the login so he can do it. Originally, that was the plan. Marcus is going to do everything himself. I can have a night off, and then I log in. And I think to myself, I'm just going to turn everything on and I'm not going to talk. And then I hang out with these two sons of bitches and I'm 30 minutes in and I'm having a good time. So I'm going to stop ruining the show and I'm going to get off air and you guys can stay on topic.
All right, everybody, before we get started, Marcus, if you guys like what we're doing, and apparently we're doing good numbers on audio, but let's pump up these numbers on video on YouTube. I know shit's rough out there. Gas prices go through the roof. Fucking Joe Biden's talking about we're going to starve soon. But if you got the disposable income, throw us a super chat. And here's the deal. We get 100 super chats. Marcus is going to do a strip tease for all of you, stripping down to his left flank vet branded Ranger panties. Right?
Was that the surprise that you had for me?
That's it. Right? Because Marcus is like, yo, I'm the eye candy mag, the sports shit. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm gonna remember this shit. I got you.
Okay.
So you give us 100 super chats, and that's what Marcus is gonna do. We cannot get full nude because we have standards, but he will strip all the way down to those left flank vet Ranger panties for you, the viewer. So yeah. So Danis, you know what? We'll put some left flank vets pasties on them too. All right, we'll fuck it. We'll do it.
I should. I think I got a sticker, at least one sticker sitting around. So I'll just smush them together and get one pasty. But well, I don't know if we were gonna try and go through everything.
So there
But
you go,
there
everybody.
are
This gives you incentive. Tell your friends to come out. Let's get some super chats in the queue
yeah.
here.
Wait,
And as soon as we hit 100, Mark is
are you
gonna
saying
shake his ass for all of you.
$100 or 100 separate super chats?
No, 100 separate super chats. That way we can give you time to get your routine down, Marcus. You can pick your
Okay.
song, right?
Yes.
Like,
All
I don't
right.
want this to be spur of the moment. I want you to put some work into this so we can have a
Okay.
good
All
show
right.
when we hit
All
it.
right. I think the poll should come in by that time.
Marcus, I'm just gonna buy that for you and fucking have it sent through Amazon to your house.
Hey, send it USPS, baby. I don't want that Amazon shit.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. See, thank you for calling me out on that. I want to make sure.
Make sure it's union. Fucking, I don't want any of the fucking dog shit.
Wait, you know what's gonna be funny is when I finish up here, Marcus, I'm gonna get on Google and be like, union made stripper poles and see what pops up.
Yes, yeah. You got to make sure it's good. I feel like Rogue Athletics. They're in Ohio, and they make actually a lot of CrossFit equipment. I feel like they could do some damage in the stripper pole industry, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So a few things, and I feel like we should go through the March Madness first because for me that's the least interesting, especially with where things have ended up. But a few other things. The now most popular sport in the world, women's swimming. That's all of a sudden got a lot of fame. Strange, but we'll go into that. And some NFL trades, and then one thing that I really want to get into is some of the F1 issues with the race that they just had in Saudi Arabia. So, kicking it off.
All right, before we go into this, I want everybody to know I wrote the show notes, and somebody last time said we were cucks because we're talking about March and not March Madness. I'm going to preface this by this, and Marcus, if I'm not speaking for you, tell me to shut the fuck up. But Marcus and I both grew up in Ohio. Do you know how important college basketball is in Ohio? Wait a minute. I'll answer that question. Not at all. No one gives a shit. Okay. But I thought that the St. Peter story was really fucking rad. So that's why I wanted to lead with it. Even though they lost last night, it's still pretty cool for a 15 seed to get to the Elite Eight.
And I'm a huge college and pro football fan, and so it's my fault. So please don't call anybody, and don't call anybody names like that because you don't want to get the Will Smith.
I will come through the screen and Will Smith your ass. No, and but at the end of the day, though, and that's something though, it's like that is amazing. Like it really is. And I guess this is where it's kind of like, hit or miss. Is that as far, as far as 16 to go? And I think you'd, put this 3,000 students at this fucking school.
3,009 officially. 3,009. And that's between graduate students.
What?
Yes.
So that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. So like their recruiting has got to be like literally nothing, right? It's literally people who go to that school and like they might have some type of academic scholarship maybe that goes along with it, but they're not getting sports scholarships. These are dudes that are just like, I like fucking playing basketball, and best bet I get into the D League at some point in time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I couldn't watch the game live last night, so I watched it when I got home because I wrote it in the show notes. So I'm not going to look like an asshole by not watching the game that I just wrote about, right? Literally, St. Peter's only lost that game because of how small they were. Like the tallest guy on the court for them was like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
Right. And that's why St. Peter's played a very wide open kind of game. It was predicated on speed, spacing, and shooting. Right. But even if you do that at your best, right? And let's face it, they literally just upset 3 teams to get there. Like teams that are like, in better's parlance, like they're far better than St. Peter's, right? But you're coming upon a UNC team that really turned it on towards the end of the season. Everybody's like I live in North Carolina. I'm in the heart of this college basketball loving fucking dystopia that I hate. But UNC really started turning it on towards the end of the season, and and maybe it's just me projecting here, but Roy Williams retires, hands the reins over to Hubert Davis, who's a black man, of course, right? But he played college basketball at UNC. But when UNC was kind of struggling earlier in the year, what were people fucking doing? Nothing but bitching.
Yep.
Nothing but bitching. And the thing is, it's like when Matt Doherty, like when people don't realize when Dean Smith stepped away and Matt Doherty took over that team, they had a great first year because it was a lot of Dean Smith prospects, or recruits, but they scuttled very bad his last year and a half there. But while people were upset with it, I'm telling you right now, I was in this state. They didn't bitch about Matt Doherty going I think 9-20 his second year, the way they did about Hubert Davis having a very good record, getting into the tournament, and now he's in the Final Four. That's what fucking kills me about all this, right?
That's I mean, honestly, that's the type of shit I think. And really, it's when you see black coaches in spaces talk about what it really is, and they're not holding fucking back. You this all comes out, and I think especially especially coming up from the NFL, with all of the issues that have been coming out lately, this is now across the board, and to the point where it's hopefully someone at the university is saying hey, no matter what the fans say, and we're in the Final Four, so that should dead any type of issues in the real decision-making power. It should. It hasn't saved all black coaches, but it should, but that's one thing is you just, if you're not smart enough to say we want to win, which they're doing, you need to be smart enough to realize the moment that's happening around you and not fuck with this shit. And the thing is too is let the team be the team, right? Let the team do as it is. Make this decisions. Sometimes you're gonna have rebuilding. You're gonna have maturation of players. All of these things come into it. Trying to fuck with a coach one year and then that one out, that's just, I don't think that's a good thing to do ever. But especially you got somebody in the Final Four,
well, I
done.
think it's obvious Hubert Davis can't coach. I think it's pretty obvious he knows what he's doing. And you got to think he went away from what Roy Williams did on the court because he's this is my team. And you got to understand, Dean Smith cast this huge shadow over UNC still to this day. The dude's been dead for 3 or 4 years at this point. He hasn't coached at UNC. Let's face it, they had Doherty, Roy. This is their third coach since Dean Williams. But his whole thing was that three.
I mean,
it was
just Ohio State, man. Woody still fucking rules Ohio State.
Yeah, which I don't understand because let's face it, he was so. I'm gonna tell you right now, Woody Hayes in today's college football wouldn't even be a fucking 500 head coach. He was boring. He ran a fucking option offense and a shit defense that would get smoked with today's athletes.
Well, that's the thing is that you still see. I mean, it's everywhere. That reverence is everywhere, and that legacy still lasts. And it's it's hard for people to even come out of it because at that point too, it's it's entrenched, right? It's not just about winning. There's now a systemic fucking person, and Joe Pa's gonna be that for fucking Penn State,
Okay, first off, Marcus, we're talking college basketball right now. Don't get me started on that motherfucker. All right,
okay, I'm sorry, but just go to the point of this lineage.
What I'm trying to say is,
shadow.
Hubert Davis was I don't have the players to run these antiquated offenses and be successful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my game, and we'll see what happens. And the thing is, it took him a while. It took Davis a little bit of time to get this implemented. But look at what he's done. St. Peter's, again, the reason they lost is they were massively outsized, right? You got this small, tiny Catholic school, like Marcus said, was barely over 3,000 students. Okay. And it's in Jersey City. So it's literally 2 miles outside of New York City. And the funny thing is, and we'll move on from this topic in a second, but there's legalized sports gambling in New Jersey, right, Marcus?
Yeah.
Because the school is located in New Jersey, people couldn't bet on them from the state they're from. So if you placed a bet on the St. Peter's UNC game, you're automatically winning because you can't place a bet on
On the team.
St. Peter's,
Yeah.
so your bet's going to go with UNC. Like, and that's just one of the legalese, but like, I think it's pretty cool that you have this, and like, we've seen it from time to time. Like you get this small school that kind of comes out of like Butler, who has turned that into like a sustained success.
Yeah.
Xavier has been very strong. Villanova, like, honestly, there's a lot of Catholic schools in the new the new Big East as we know it is all Catholic schools. But you know what I mean? Like, it's really kind of, that's the only way I pay attention to March Madness is when a tiny school, you remember back in 2009, Florida Gulf Coast University, Slam City.
Yeah.
Like, I watched that shit.
I remember Holy Cross.
Yeah. Bro,
like them white boys just draining threes. It's like, don't just drain threes and just prey on defense. And then, I think they made it to a Sweet 16. But yeah, and this is where though, I think my question is that to the whole thing, right? Zooming out, you do have the wonderful story, and I don't want to take it away from the team at all.
No, I mean, dude, we've never seen a 15
point.
seed. We've never seen a 15 seed get to the elite 8 yet. And what I think's funny is we've had a lot of really great mid majors, like Wichita State. Like, that has been a they came to kind of prominence in the early 2000s, and that's been a very steady basketball program. Butler, Colgate, and which is kind of funny because I just mentioned 3 programs that are mostly white boys that just shoot threes and then prey on defense, like you said. Right.
But no, my question though is that is it too much? Is most of this just fanfare? Because you're going to get to a point where with some of these teams, even if they make it, it's not it's just different, right? That you see that, hey, every dude on the court is an inch or 2 taller, than some of the tallest guys on the other team. It doesn't come to a point where, hey, maybe this whole thing is just a lot of fanfare, and there's, yes, there is competition. Yes, there's always that chance, but is that chance more geared to the gambler than it is actually to separating some of these teams and just maybe allowing them a chance to actually win a tournament that's off on their own, right? And that's going more to the college football standpoint of where there is more of these separate things, obviously not individual games, but like the NIT, what if there was just more separate tournaments along, that were just a step up from the bracket or from their conferences that actually allows them to bring home hardware?
Okay. Well, first off, we have to acknowledge Pink Roses, our Wichita State fan here in chat. So, Pink Roses, fucking rad. I appreciate you for being a Wichita State fan. Okay, but I mean, to get back to what you're talking about, Marcus, before we get to the NIT and the CBA, which is the 3rd collegiate basketball tournament, okay? The fact of the matter is we have seen a lot more kind of upsets from lower seeded teams being successful against what we'd call the Power 5 conferences, right?
Yeah.
And in basketball, it's easier to do because you only have 17 total players, right? You've got your 12, and then you always have 5, either they're walk-ons or non-scholarship kids. Riviera, that's rude. You do not have a contractual obligation to root for Michigan in front of Marcus because I too am an Ohio State fan. So knock that shit off.
We both lost with Villanueva in the bracket. So
yeah,
but
I mean, this is the thing. With college basketball, it's not just the 68 teams because you have the playing games in the big tournament. You have the NIT and you have the CBA. So, but what people also have to understand, there's 314 teams in Division I college basketball. 314. So they have, and what people also don't realize, until the 60s, the NIT was the bigger tournament until it got knocked for people fixing bets. And that's why the NCAA was able to kind of pull back from the NIT. So But like we're seeing kind of this leveling effect in college basketball, because yes, there are many more teams that are involved in a lot more conferences than college football, right? But this is where, like, for me and you, Marcus, since we love college football a lot more than college basketball, this is why we need to expand the playoff in college football, because we will have upsets like this. Like, let's face it, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Cincinnati playing in the American Athletic, getting to the playoff is a fucking upset in itself. And that's the thing. Like, we could have more upsets like this if we can't expand, the playoff. And I'm always going to put air brackets around it, as long as fucking there are people picking the teams that play in it.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's that. I agree with you there. I think it would look better if there was a just straight bracket between conferences for football. But the thing is, though, is like when it comes to football, it does, at least too, it's like between like the divisions, like you got to the point where it's like, yeah, like especially like when Urban Meyer was coaching Utah, like shout out
Yeah.
to that fucking asteroid that came down to Earth. But when he was coaching Utah, there was an argument for them going to the national championship. What held them back? The fact that they were Utah more than
And they were in the
anything
Mountain
else.
West at the time. Yeah, they were in the Mountain West.
Exactly, right?
And
And so that's where it's like, if there was an actual system where they go straight from, and like honestly, they could make it just conferences like the NFL, or playoff systems like the NFL, where it's like you just do it regionally, and then hey, fucking go from there.
well, I mean, Marcus,
But
why not just
with
do
basketball, what I'm saying though
the
is
10 in football? You do the 10 conferences with the highest two non-conference champions, and then you have 12 teams for playoff.
I mean,
And
that
then
sounds great. What I'm saying though, for basketball, because we're on basketball, we can't do
okay,
this.
we are on
Okay?
basketball. Yes, sir.
We can't do this. I'm saying though, is for basketball, is it too far in the other direction, right? To where you can have these great stories, but if you're asking the question of, is there ever going to be 15, 14, 16, 15, 16 seed team actually make it? Well, probably not.
Well, see, I will disagree with you on this, because I'm going to tell you right now, what you and I both need to do is watch recruiting for St. Peter's in this following year, because that head coach is fucking rad as fuck. Watching his press conferences, he's just like, yo, nobody cares about my people, but see, I do. And we just work hard. We have a system. Let's work at it. And let's face it, St. Peter's went from a 15 to an Elite 8 team. Watch what that does for their recruiting next year.
I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't fucking doubt that. However, my point is that if I'm playing, I want to be able to win. And I think realistically, there's no yes, they're gonna be able to recruit wins. But if you're a senior and like, hey, I know that I'm going to this tournament, and no matter how hard I fucking work, like, hey, we could be a big story, we could be a big name, but like the actual fucking W, like
Well,
the
dude,
fucking hardware, like, is this a competitive institution in which any team can win?
okay,
Can you say that?
hold on. Hear me out on this.
I want a yes or no before you answer. Can you say that this bracket system provides a chance that any team can win?
Yes. And here's the why. Here's
I
the
know
why.
bullshit, but okay, go ahead.
All right. Like, I'm old as fuck, right? I'm an old motherfucker, right? And the thing is, I remember the old, really stodgy NBA, right? So, yeah, Jason, shut the fuck up. We got you. You're older, but you're way more handsome than me. And you're lucky I didn't put you out for the fucking, strip
Yeah.
tease. Okay. I'm respecting your time.
We
I put
see
that on
all
Marcus.
that ink. We're gonna play count the tattoos when Jason gets naked.
Okay. But the fact of the matter is like, we saw the game of basketball change in the late 90s, and it opened up a lot with the influx of European players, right? And people don't realize that, like, this wide open game we see in the pros has been in Europe for like 30 fucking years. And it's really kind of leveled the playing field. look at the Western Conference in the NBA, which is much more stout than the Eastern. But like even well, 1-9 because the Lakers are shitting the bed. But look at the East where you're literally like 1-11, right? So like, and then exactly, Jason, the Warriors, like this team made a like they won championships, like spreading the ball out, shooting
but
and
hold
pressure.
on,
But hold
though.
on, Marcus, hear me out.
You're talking about the whole NBA.
Hold on, Marcus, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out on this one, okay? What I'm saying is the college game is even changing now, where you're seeing more stress on outside shooting and spacing, which gives smaller schools a lot more opportunity, like St. Peter's did this year, which made their money off of spacing and good shooting.
Yep.
Right. So, like, I think you going forward, and if I'm wrong, I will let Marcus, you know me, when I'm wrong, I will freely admit I'm fucking wrong.
What
But
sucks
like, I
is
think
we can't prove this until one of us is on a deathbed.
yeah.
You know, like that's the thing is like we're never really gonna know. But this is like, and that's the thing is that this is very much a focus on the competitive player.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like. And like if you play sports, if you play like sports with tournaments, everything like that, like you know what it's like being the underdog. You know what that's like. Imagine knowing that every step of the way you're the underdog, and increasingly so. Like this does not provide an opportunity for programs like St. Peter's to actually like to be victorious, right? It doesn't allow them to play in a competitive space where they can bring home the hard way and say they won. So like
But
they've
already done it. They've literally already done it.
True, and that's where
can
it's
you
like
imagine what
I
they're
guess I just
recruiting
don't. I guess well that's just like not about recruiting, and like even it's like you go in their conference play and all these things.
Yeah.
But as far as going outside on some type of like a higher level, but still having the opportunity to actually fucking win, like this is where it's like, this is great for betting. This is great for betting to where one little slip here, one little slip there. But at the end of the day, you look at the Final Four now. You're dealing with the same teams, right, that are there usually there.
But again, UNC's the low seed in this one because what we talked about, So like it's like I hate the whole, when I hear Duke UNC is the biggest rivalry in sports, and I'm like, you've obviously not been to, and I'm gonna say it again, and I don't give a shit, Jason, fuck off. You obviously haven't been to a OSU game in football. You obviously, right? Like haven't done that. But like that's a pretty fucking great storyline considering this is Coach K's last run. So like that's pretty cool.
And that's where like I think the story with ESPN, and this is actually something that's like I'm gonna steal a line from Erica. Because she says like if you think sports is just about sports and not about drama, you don't watch sports. Sports, especially as like you talk about college and NFL and the NBA. The NBA is a damn reality TV show with sports.
Marcus, look at the NFL season. Who fucking picked? I think there was like 2 people in the entire country that laid money down on Cincinnati being in the Super Bowl.
Like, and that's where when you talk about Duke, North Carolina, this, yes, that's all there, but I'm really trying to zoom out and just even question, is this bracket system really something where like, and that's where I'm coming as an individual. If I was playing on one of these teams going into it and we're winning, right? You're St. Peter's and you're fucking boom, boom. You're upset. Every game you go into, the players are getting taller. They're getting stronger. They're fucking they jump higher. They shoot better. Like literally it like, and then that's where it's like, that's where it's just like maybe they should cut it off a little bit closer.
No, dude, I mean,
all right,
I'm okay with this because like I was telling you, like watch St. Peter's recruiting next next year.
Yeah,
Because you're going to get,
but Mac,
bro, let's face it, Marcus,
you're,
go.
but that's what, no. Hold on. The senior on the team, the senior on the fucking team, the senior on the team who's like, I want to fucking win. You don't get to win. Once you hit this tournament, you actually don't get to fucking win this thing. You know you're not coming home with the hardware.
But no, that's
like,
the thing.
That's
He plays at St. Peter's in the American Mid-Atlantic Conference or some shit. Bro, he was never supposed to be in the Elite Eight. That senior on that team is like, bro, I'm just happy for the swag bags I'm getting from the goddamn tournament.
I mean, that's dope. It's all dope.
Right?
And I know, and I agree. But the win.
Oh,
it's about winning.
But
homie,
that
seems like if motherfuckers are happy with swag, like the fucking swag bag, good, go ahead. But like anytime I play sports, I wanted to win more than anything else. I wanted to win. I want to be able to say to that other motherfuckers wearing a different jersey, I'm better than you.
Yeah. Guess what, Marcus? You and I were both in another jersey when we went to war. We didn't get that win. So
we took the L, man. We take the L. U.S. military stays taking L's. Of course. Why do you think I'm going back to my sports days?
So you're talking like I need those W's 10 years ago because I took a whole lot of L's beforehand.
Hey, shout out to the Taliban. What's up, homie?
What's up,
good game. No, but I don't know. That's, I guess we're gonna have to.
Yo, Marcus, second topic. Hey, everybody in chat, I just want you to know I love you. I fucking love everybody that's hanging out here. So again, if you like what we're doing, and you have the ability, throw us a super chat. Let us know you love us.
Sorry, Jason.
Fucking Jason.
Oh shit.
But keep in mind, we all appreciate everybody that even if you're not throwing us something, but you're listening, you're downloading. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And thank you for dealing with our shenanigans. Because Marcus and I, we might be under the influence of illicit substances right now, but we're talking sports. Yeah. And everybody, topic 2. Lead us into it, Marcus.
Well, so of course, everybody's new favorite sport, women's swimming. Leah Thomas, trans woman swimmer for Penn State.
Penn.
For Penn. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. It just rolls off. It just rolls off.
Yeah. Something tells me Lee's a good enough person to not go to Penn State.
But Penn State's swimming program pretty fucking decent, but
besides
the point, right?
It's a gross program overall.
Oh, so. Yeah, exactly. But ends up winning D1 championships and winning by a pretty significant amount, and this erupts in a story, right? This erupts, in this national fervor, which is mostly just culture war bullshit and right wingers that boils down to just simple transphobia and bigotry. But when you talk the discussion of trans women specifically in sports, you don't really see this talk about trans men. I don't think you really see a talk or discussion about trans men in any of these issues, right? Which kind of leads me to the misogyny in society.
There was a little bit, except in Texas, where a trans man was wrestling at 135, 140, and dominated their weight class and won the state championship. Right? Nobody said shit about it.
There it is.
Right?
There it
because folks were embarrassed. Right? But let's talk about Leah Thompson. Right? This woman won the 500-meter freestyle for the NCAA. She competed in other events. And Marcus, I'm sure you saw that the girl who finished 17th in her event against Leah decided she was going to file a a grievance against the NCAA for not letting her win, I guess, complaining about Leah being transgender. But it's like, sweetie, you finished 17th against Leah, who finished 5th in that particular race.
Yeah.
I just like the thing is Leah Thompson won a national championship in one meet, participated in others. And then because of her win, we saw people posting things on Twitter with Katie Ledecky, who is a multiple NCAA champ who won Olympic gold medals, where people are like, that looks like a dude. And other people are like, no, that's Katie Ledecky, who's a woman. Like
Which, and this is the thing that's really frustrating too, is that even with this win, even with the big win that Leah Thomas had, that she didn't even break the record.
no.
And like this is where like you have this idea or this lie, right? That men are choosing to deal with all the societal stigma that comes with just existing as a trans person. They're just going to choose to enter into this space so that they can win at sports.
Yeah,
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's
Jason,
insane.
it goes back into that to the Utah state law, right? Like literally, the Utah legislature passed a law saying that we're going to set up a commission to literally check the genitals of high school children so they can compete in high school athletics.
Should you be worried about who signs up for that job?
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on, Jason. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? But the thing is, there is one transgender, male to female transgender athlete in the state of Utah that they're passing this law for, where there's a commission of 5 people, including coaches, that are allowed to inspect the genitals of the athlete before they're allowed to compete.
I mean, it's
Right?
fucked up sounding. That sounds really fucked up because in my head, I see a person dressed like a mechanic with the thing they roll under the cars with,
Oh my
checking
god.
people's gender. But
Hold on.
seriously, like, I'll be serious. There's no reason. But Marcus has a good point. Like, who would want to go through the humiliation and all the other shit that you have to deal with as a young person in general, just to win at sports? Bigger than that, there's no financial benefit. Women's sports don't get money like men's sports do. There's no way that you're gonna
Hey,
try to
Jason, the reason they don't make money the way men's sports don't do is a whole other night. We need to talk about this shit. All right, that's
that
fucking
hasn't been part of
facts.
the conversation because people are so worried about identity conversations. That's like, look, man, do you really think there's a bunch of dudes that tomorrow are going to be like, no, I want to be trans so I can get a title? That's silly. They don't get anything from it. There's no financial benefit. You're not going to go to the WNBA and make any more money than you would if you worked full-time as a manager at Walmart. So why would you do that? If you're gonna lie, you'd be lying for some sort of financial gain, not to prove some sort of point.
That is the kicker in all of this is Marcus, bear with me here, my friend. We're watching a polity pass legislation to target minorities. Where have we seen that before? Where have we seen it?
And the thing is too is that like even when you talk about people who say like there's no systemic discrimination, where's the law? They like literally specifically say like I will not believe in systemic discrimination without a law that explicitly says we will treat this group of people differently. And it's like, well, here you go. Here you fucking go. here you are.
Hold
like,
on, and before you go, Marcus,
I know, like they've been ignoring immigration laws for quite some time.
But Marcus,
like,
we are in the midst of 38 states out of 50 passing anti-trans laws right now.
The only thing that more states have in common than passing anti-trans laws is building the F-35. Okay, like this is how fucked up our country is. This is how insane our fucking country is.
Hold on, Marcus. Did you see that shit in Canada? Like, not to get sidetracked, everybody, but
they're ordering.
Dude, they are literally ordering an aircraft, bypassing Canadian law for a plane, a bomber, a fighter that cannot fly. It can't fly.
In the rain.
It does. Hold on, everybody. It does this. That's the F-35 right there. Like, that is literally the entire life cycle of the F-35.
It's insane. And like, then this is where Canada, Germany, with all this NATO, like with NATO, maybe not expanding by state or different, like, states, but bases, like for sure. And Biden's proposal, they're gonna give more money to the fucking military. Like, line go up, dude. Line motherfucking go up.
Yo, Marcus, line really went up with this new budget. Like, literally, he went from, like, he raised it on us before this shit, right? Like, we talked about this. He raised it a smidge, and then he went straight up past 800 million to 831 million. It was like, this is normal. It's okay. But I was like, but my friends, and my people are going bankrupt over healthcare costs. Wait a minute, gas prices are shooting through the roof. You're not helping. Wait a minute, you literally just told us we're going to starve to death because food prices are going through the roof. Okay, cool. All right,
learn the code. Learn the fucking code. I don't know what to fucking tell you. Learn the code. Dumb fucking lazy assholes. Okay, and I'm gonna skip one. Okay, we're skipping number 3.
Okay,
because the draft is coming up, and we can talk about the NFL later.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but we got time on the NFL. But one thing that I do want to get into, and this will Jason, strap in. We might be here, and it'll open your book, Jason. F1 racing.
All right, Marcus, before we get into it, I know most of us don't give a shit about F1. But if you have even a kind of space on social media, you should realize how this is fucked up.
Yes. And well, the thing is, I there was a time like where it's like a friend's fucking dad really loved Formula One. And so anytime we were hanging out at his house, I remember Julio Castroneves was a driver
for a little bit.
Like that was like probably like 20 years ago. Almost.
Oh, dude, Jesus Christ, Marcus! It literally was 20 years ago. Like, he hasn't. Okay,
so that's what I had a little said. But
what we're talking about is literally, I put this in the show notes because Marcus and I have been very outspoken, have we not, about the U.S. participation and the the bullshit that's happening in Yemen right now. Like, they are blockading the country. They're providing weapons to the UAE and the KSA, right? And Marcus and I have been very, 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 very outspoken about this. Like, this is not okay. But the thing is like, we like to paint the opposition parties in Yemen like they're bad people. Well, guess what? When you have the US, the UK, all these other countries selling fucking jets, missiles, providing people that, are forward observers to these countries to bomb in Yemen. And then the Houthis is like, nah, fuck you, dude. I got you, and launch bombs into a fucking oil refinery.
And just to add a little bit more, like, as brief as I fucking can, right, is that Houthis take over Yemen, Saudi Arabia doesn't like Houthis. They just decide, hey, and like that was like it was from like they overthrew Houthis overthrew the government, started taking control of Yemen. Saudi Arabia's like, hey, we don't like Houthis, and we're gonna fucking start just bombing like all out. We don't give a
dude,
shit. Part of it is, hey, we're just doing it to reinstate. Like Saudi Arabia's like, we're just trying to reinstate the democratic leadership in Yemen. What they're actually doing is just leveling the whole fucking place. It is a very much if we can't have it, nobody can have it type fucking mission. And the U.S. military industrial complex is providing the fodder, right? It's providing the fucking actual weapons to do this. And now you come to Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
even still, like you have, like, let's take in the backdrop as well. Russia is invading Ukraine. The international corporate community, right? Because the international community has a very different outlook on this situation than what the United States, NATO, and NATO allies do, right? Overall, internationally, very different than what the United States and the West is doing. When it comes to the corporations, they completely outright, right? And you're good, Mac. They go fucking gangbusters, right? They go fucking gangbusters. No McDonald's in Russia. Oh, hey, we're not doing any flights out, even though there's a lot of American citizens. I have a friend who had who wasn't able to get a flight out of Russia when he was studying there because of airlines saying, "Oh no, we can't help. We fuck off," right? So all of these corporations say no, 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 no. But there's people who point out the contradictions that are going on. The fact that, well, like we were mentioning, the genocide in Yemen by the Saudis, funded, armed by U.S. and other fucking countries, Israel, which has now been thoroughly documented as an apartheid state by now two major international at national organizations, but still the you don't have the same thing, and that's where it points to, of course, hegemonic powers, and now we get to F1. They're having a race in Saudi Arabia. The Houthi rebels end up attacking a oil refinery while the F1 racers, and these, like, there's this like was it like, I don't know about it, kart racing, sprint cars, like they're the tiny weird looking ones, right? The Indianapolis 500, that's what you talk about, right? They look like hammerhead sharks if you're not familiar, right? So that type of fucking car, they're fucking going nuts, and next thing you know, kaboom, black smoke is pouring out into the air. The fucking the Houthis had launched an attack and successfully hit an oil refinery, I think 6 miles away from the racing track where they had started
Marcus,
practicing.
it wasn't even 6 miles. It was almost less than 4. It was less than 4.
Well, fuck. Because in my head, and we're probably going to go down this a little bit, because in my head, like, I'm thinking about like weapon systems, capabilities. If you can hit 4 miles away, how close can you hit me? And
Yeah.
depending on positioning and stuff like that, hey. But then you see, and this is the thing that's like kind of pisses me off, is that when the drivers realize they're in danger, right? They apparently had no concept of the conflict beforehand. But as soon as they see the smoke plume, they're like, "Oh shit, we might get fucked up in this."
No, and
they
I mean, Marcus, that's the thing with all this, is that like they all the drivers sat down and were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this," but they literally voted against doing the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. Like, they were like,
Yes.
"No, we're not racing
Yes.
in Russia.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna race in Russia."
Yeah.
But like here in Saudi Arabia, KSA, where we literally saw a oil refinery like less than fucking 4K away go up in smoke, because I'm sorry, everybody, if you don't realize, the war in Yemen is done with American material personnel. like Americans are literally calling out, like they're acting as forward observers. They're doing targeting packages. Like the United States, the US, we are very involved with a fucking blockade and bombing campaign that is going to kill 23 million people. Like that's the kicker of all this. Like them.
Yeah. And so and like so obviously like Formula One, it's not really that accessible and or popular. Like really like the closest thing honestly for most Americans is like NASCAR, like would be the closest one, but this is a very, very it's a moneyed sport.
Yeah.
And that's what Saudi Arabia brings. And this is where the fucking thing that's like insane is like when people talk about autocracy versus democracy. This is what Joe Biden and all them talk about. It's like, now let us go to the very democratic Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's literally named after the people who rule it. Like, hello, McFly. This shit doesn't make any fucking sense. And these people are so like, I guess just plainly full of shit. And to the point though, it's like, it's one thing where it's like, we're not going to go to St. Petersburg. There's no bombing. There's no nothing going on in St. Petersburg. It's just Russia bad, right? Putin bad, Russia bad. We can't race in St. Petersburg. We can race in Saudi Arabia though, where they just fucking blew up an oil refinery 4 miles where from a race. So that's where the fucking thing of like, even within their own personal interest versus the fucking actual interest of innocent people, neither of them align.
Well, I mean,
It is
Marcus, I was
all for money.
on Sports as a Weapon podcast, and we talked about like the little Russophobia of the United States. Like
Yeah.
there's no real truth like to a lot of this bullshit. Like a lot of people like being behind Ukraine on this stuff. Like a lot of it is just like my parents were anti-Russia when the Cold War was going on, so now I have to keep it going.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of it is. I mean, dude, like we have what like we already talked about it. Like the the Russian cat, shit. Like, oh no Russian cats can come on this one. FIFA.
They took out the Russian mustards from the fucking mustard museum.
Yes.
Like, what? Oh, Putin's finished now. Just a matter of time.
And it's ridiculous because like I mean, honestly, we've addressed this. Like for me, I'm never going to be in favor of a war where the workers of countries murder each other. Like Marcus, you and I are like we're right here on that shit, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I have both literally been to war. We've seen what it does to people. There's nothing good about war. Nothing good. There's nothing heroic about it. There's nothing like positive about it. War is bad overall. Like and we should not watch the workers of countries murder each other over some geopolitical bullshit.
Both militaries would do better to just listen to the people who are living in their communities and say, we will defend you against anything else. That's what the best bet would be. But that's not what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marcus, we're going to do this. We're going to switch. We watched the F1 shit, but like let's talk about this NFL shit, right? Let's talk about Deshaun Watson.
You just want to you were right. Mac, you were right.
I was
right.
right in this. But you
Mac called it.
It wasn't I'm gonna tell you right now, being right in this, it doesn't feel good. Jim Thome, who is a Cleveland baseball legend, Cleveland Baseball Hall of Famer. He and his wife literally just canceled their season tickets because of what Deshaun Watson signing in the trade in his new contract dealt with. I don't know if you saw the contract details, but his first year, because let's put it this way, if like by CBA rules, if you have a guaranteed contract, it gets canceled because of if it gets canceled because of suspension, it voids your contract, right? So Deshaun Watson signs this huge deal, 5 years, $200. His first year is only $1.4 million because the Browns were expecting a suspension. So they're like, you're going to get suspended, your guarantee money will get voided, and we'll figure it out after that. But what we're trying to figure out is how long that suspension is.
I mean, I love the Browns.
Dude, Marcus, when you and I are talking about this, like, it doesn't really boil down to what? I mean, do you really think? Like, I'm asking you this right now. Do you think other owners are like, what the fuck were you thinking, Jimmy Haslam, signing this dickhead to a 5-year, $230 million contract when he hasn't played in a year? Like, what do you think, Marcus?
I think that like there's something though that like I don't know. I'll actually like I'm gonna take you back. This is about probably like 2007, 2008. I'm living with a few people, you know, and you know a few like 2 people were actually from Cleveland, but my buddy Daryl, his dad comes down to visit. We go out to the bars, we have a fucking good time, come back, and I hear my buddy Daryl and his dad talking in the kitchen. And the dad saying, he's like, don't love them like I love them. They're going to break your heart every time. You just can't love them like I love them. And I'm like, damn, dude, like this motherfucker's getting some serious shit. Like, how many ex-wives did this motherfucker bring through the house? They were talking about the Browns. They were talking about the Browns. They're like, and that's where it's like there's just something about it. There's just something about it. I don't know that I'm gonna live to see the fucking day where like the Browns actually get their shit together and are a serious organization, because that's not what the Browns are.
Okay.
And
before you go into it, I'm the nerd, and Marcus, that's why you have me here, because I'm the contract nerd. I get that, but that's why I volunteer you strip teases. So like I'm the beauty. I'm the brains here. All right. But the fact of the matter is like that contract for Deshaun Watson, Marcus, they literally in the first year, $1.46 million is all he gets. And do you know why that happens? Because in the NFL, if you get suspended, your guaranteed contract gets voided. So literally, they're expecting Deshaun to get suspended for any amount of time, but like it's only going to cost him a little over or a little under $1.5 million. But the rest of that $230 million is backloaded. So like it's. I'm sorry, like Jim Thome, and Marcus, you know who Jim Thome is?
Yeah,
baseball player.
Oh yeah, dude, he is Cleveland's own baseball player. This guy went into the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland baseball player, right? Mm-hmm. But he and his wife canceled their season tickets because they're like, yo, this guy's a fucking sex pest, right? And there's a lot of other fans that literally canceled their fucking season tickets. You know, they're like, yo, I'm not doing this shit. So like, and for me, Marcus, like this is, I think this is the kind to talk about is like, what is the trade-off of having this guy who is Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
who's
No,
a
I mean, this is
lifetime talent, but when do we, I guess, give it a pass for his talent for what he's like? Again, he's a sex
I mean,
boss.
that's yeah.
Well, I thought he got acquitted.
No, he got acquitted criminally, but there is still 23 civil suits.
A civil suit and a criminal suit are two extremely different things.
He can still lose money, my friend. And look,
one doesn't equate. I mean, one doesn't necessarily equate guilt. It's a
but
civil
no,
suit.
he still did his criminal court in Texas, and we all know about Texas. They're not big into actually holding people accountable.
And I'll say this: as far as
I wouldn't say that. They've been killing motherfuckers on death.
as far as the criminal cases, though, you do had 2 instances of people putting down statements and then retracting those statements. You had those, and those same people had ended up having their lawyer fees paid for by Deshaun Watson. There are some things that don't necessarily, I think, shake out as far as the guilt or innocence. And I think I never will allow the United States criminal justice system to decide like what's good and bad, right? They're the moral compass of the United States Department of Justice does not exist. So, but that thing is like, and I think it would be fair. I think it'd be very fair for people to say, I don't want to fucking buy tickets and all these things. That is the farthest extent of
So,
American.
basically, we're saying that someone can say none of us were there.
And that thing is like, I've seen enough. I've read enough. Like I've read enough about the stories to say this motherfucker, he's a big piece of shit. And that's easy. If I'm not the one making millions of dollars and doing all these things. And like, but at the end of the fucking day, people can still make their own decisions. You know what I'm saying? People can still make their own decisions on whether they want to fucking buy these tickets, they want to be season tickets holders and all these things. Mac, I'll say if you are right, it will be decided by this one thing, right? Because when it comes to the Browns, when it comes to the motherfucking Browns, one of the few teams is like they sell out. It doesn't matter how many times they lose. This is Cleveland. Losing is part of Cleveland, especially after like the fucking industry left, right? Losing became a part of Cleveland. Now you're muted, and I'm happy you still let me finish. But what happens in Cleveland is if they keep selling out, it won't matter. Now you can say what you're saying.
Hold on, Mac was getting an echo. That's why I muted him.
Oh,
you're unmuted, Mac.
No, okay.
You're unmuted. No, there was an echo coming out when Marcus was talking on your for some reason. I honestly, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I've followed the Deshaun Watson story. Have not followed it.
You read up. It's not there are, hey, some this testimony came into the court on this date. The testimony was changed. Things were paid for from this, it looks not so.
All I'm saying is, Marcus, I think you and I could both say this. If there's smoke, there's fire. That's how I look
scary.
at
it. I'm terrified to be around you guys.
Yeah. And and that's the thing.
It's a true story. I'm gonna tell you a true story. This stalker that I'm dealing with said some horrible things about an ex-girlfriend of mine. Keep in mind, I've never met this stalker before in my life. I've never been in the same place as this person at any point in my life. It's just a person that watches the show. They accused my ex of some amazingly horrible things on social media that I tried to take down.
Now,
living in the lens of someone said it, therefore it's true.
if there was 22 other people,
It doesn't matter.
no,
They can have-
wait,
look,
wait,
let me
wait,
say-
wait,
let me
wait, no,
finish
no,
this-
no,
let
no,
me
no, no,
finish
no,
by
no.
saying
Wait,
this.
wait.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Their friend group went on to justify the things they said
Okay,
by saying, well, they wouldn't lie.
yeah.
Why would they lie?
So here's
All
where
right,
the difference.
everybody, listen up.
When you
If
have
you love
22
this show,
other
if you love this show, if you love this show, right? All right, behind the red zone. If you love this show, remember, I made a deal with all of you. I get 100 super chats. Marcus is doing a strip
they don't want to
tease for
see this
all
ass.
of you,
They don't want to see the
down
ass,
to
I
his
guess.
left leg vest wings. He's gonna do it for you
The man
because he's a handsome motherfucker. And Jason
Wait,
and I are gonna be laughing about all this shit. So
no,
let's
Jason
do
on the
this.
beach.
Let's get those super chats in if you can. I mean, first off, I'm doing this because Marcus told me, "Yo, I'm the pretty guy. You're nobody," and I'm like, "All right, Marcus, I got you. I got you."
You totally said that off air.
I'm not pretty. All right, but Marcus, I got you, friend. I got you.
Totally said that off air.
I know. Okay, but and like I know we don't got to go back because like that's the thing too. It's like there's no line, right? There's not a fucking. This isn't Foursquare, okay? But where like the thing that what I'd say was different was like if someone was saying, "Oh, hey, you're still fucking chilling with Jason," but you weren't fucking chilling with Deshaun Watson, I'd say, well, the difference is that Jason had one person who was crazy, and I could say, "Oh, hey, these are these person's friends." You could see that they know each other. When it came to Deshaun Watson, there were different fucking. There were people who did not know each other.
Yo, Marcus,
who did not, you know, they're like there was multiple people, multiple like massage organizations and all this stuff, like multiple fucking people who
Marcus,
did not know each other.
right. And that's where it's like, shit. Like, bro,
if Jason, if that type of shit, I'd start feeling like, holy fuck, okay, wait, motherfucker, what the fuck? Because like people can't coordinate shit. The CIA can't even coordinate shit without us knowing about it.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you this right now. All right, and Jason, clip it off as soon as I finish the thought off. But like the fact of the matter is, don't ever be a fan of anything, like any sports team, where you don't have some dickhead, right, that shows up on your squad and you don't back him up, right? And that's what we're dealing with right now. Like, yo, don't be that person that's like, no, I'm not gonna watch this shit, right? Like, I think we all know I'm very active on Twitter, very active on Cleveland like sports Twitter, but like the thing is with all this is like Deshaun Watson is not a good dude. We realize that, but be a fan of your own teams. You've also excused a lot of poor fucking player shit with your own teams. And the thing is, if you deny it, you're a fucking liar. And I observe the right to Will Smith you. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I'll agree with that. That 100%, Mac, you were fucking on the point. Because right now we're talking about Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, but there ain't an NFL team and an NBA team, and it's like whether there was a criminal or something like, and like, because like, hey, this is just now we're just talking about human fucking beings and how fucking disgusting we are to one another, and especially too is like when you like, and I don't know, like, I mean, I know Jay-Z been in like the music industry and shit. Athletes, you know, people who have been put up on the pedestal for so long, like it does change behavior, you know, and like, is it 100% across the board? Every, you know, like is every like, no, I'm not saying that everybody turns into some evil person, but that type of when anybody comes around me, there's nothing but love. I can do no wrong. It changes you, right? Because
well, it's a thing. I was talking about this recently with my kid. Was kind of when this thing with the stalker kind of first started happening, some people were laughing about it. They thought it was funny. And I'll be a little mildly candid about some of the things that happened. I try to be quiet about it. The first thing that happened was they had said that they were married to me. And you can tell I no longer had a public Facebook profile. And you can just tag someone and say married, engaged, whatever. And people started hitting me up. Congratulations. Family members were like, what? But I'm crazy, right? You know, I up and moved to Mexico. Jason's crazy. He fucking decided he wanted to tour around the world, and he all over the planet, you know, and sneaking into countries, you know, of course, you know, did stupid ass shit.
Stop sneaking into countries, bro. You'll be fine. You know?
I was like, this is beyond my level of crazy, and it affected my family. The woman tagged my brother when I, you know, started taking it off, and she didn't realize it was my brother, and that got him into some issues with a woman he talks to. Like, who the hell is this woman you tell? And that's kind of silly, but then it got a little crazier and deeper, and suicide things started being said, and my kid got thrown into it. My ex that I did music with for years got thrown into it, and it upped me to the fact that there's people that know me and I don't know them.
Yeah,
they know my name, they know who my kids are. You know what I mean? They know me, I don't know them, and that fucked me up. Because that's never been my life. Even as a touring musician, I've always been in small, shitty bands. I go to a town, I play, I meet people after the show, we hang out. And I've never said fan. I always say fan. I still say that shit to this day. Because I've been around people with platinum records that have fans, right? Millions of fans. They can't go anywhere. I can go anywhere I want to go. Nobody really gonna stop me. But it really did fucking kind of shake me, especially when people started saying that they were getting recognized from the show. You know, other people that are on the show a lot, they're like, oh yeah, someone's just going to be so you're so and so from TIR. I was like, oh shit. Now I get scared.
Jason, like, do you realize, like, I'm the least cool person in this whole fucking thing, and I get to hang out with you and Marcus? Like, that's fucking cool as fuck to me.
This is how I see the whole thing. This is how I see the whole show.
No,
ultimately,
Jason, no, you get to hang out for a second for like I'm a fucking like freelance journalist and writer. The only thing I've ever written about is the goddamn army, which is not cool, right? But like, I get to hang out with like great friends with you and Marcus. Like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like, bro, Jason, do you like? I'm pretty.
Wait till the crazies come. That's the thing.
That's the thing. It's the thing is like, I can't say I understand what these people go through because I don't know what, you know, it's like to have people walk up to you. Like when Dave Chappelle was talking about how he didn't like it when someone went up to him when he was with his kids and said,
Jason. Oh my God, I hate that guy.
In front of him. And I was like, yeah, that would kind of fuck me up if somebody said something. If I'm with my Marcus and Max saw me with my son off camera, I was with my son. And I remember Marcus said, that's the Jason that nobody really gets to see. And there's a reality to that. Like, you're never going to see me on camera the way I am with Phoenix Joaquin.
You don't see Sesame Street Jason.
Sesame Street Jason. Sesame Street Jason is a whole other guy.
It's barely recognizable.
We're doing this.
And I say that because you guys are going to go out one day. You know, you hermits. And
hermits are motherfucker Jason. I'm gonna go up to DC so I can get up there and hang out with Marcus when he lets me know, yo, my partner let me know I can hang out with you. So I'm waiting for Marcus. So
let's go next Monday. I heard some shit going down.
Because we're really getting serious about this live show stuff. We're really getting serious about the live show stuff. And you know, me and
Jason, this is what I'm telling you. Yo, if you like what we're doing, right? And you got some extra cash to throw at us.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
If you got some extra stuff, ring that goddamn bell. Because Marcus is gonna shake his ass for you. He's gonna do it with his left wing vet Ranger panties, and I'm gonna be here making fun of him for it. So,
what another thing that we're gonna do, and I'm very serious about this. I had a another conversation with my old booking agent, who again saw me on Ben Burgess's show, and me, Ben, and some other people I won't name, definitely had to talk about doing some more stuff, and definitely trying to do some live stuff, and definitely want to do stuff back east where you guys are. So very, 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 very serious about doing shit like this. And if you kind of have even a mild understanding of the kind of punk rock dude I am, I want to do this like in a real kind of close, warm environment.
Sweaty.
Jason,
He's sweaty by the end of the night.
You're at. I'm gonna be there. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna be there.
Especially because you're in Fayetteville, and that's where I left my show clothes. And if you've seen none of you guys are on Facebook, but my Facebook profile now is a picture of me in those show clothes that I don't have anymore because they're somewhere in Fayetteville. And I think I know the black guy that stole them. It's the only other black guy. It's not a Marine.
All right. So let's say thank you, all of you, for watching Behind the Red Zone. Thank you.
Behind
And
the red
if
carpet.
you want more, if you can, donate to our super chats, because Marcus will strip down for you to the Left Flank Vets Ranger.
We haven't gotten
Painting.
one
You
super
can do
chat with the stripping Marcus, so I don't know that it's a winner, but maybe next time. Maybe
Like tomorrow, all the super chats are going to come in.
No, we're just looking for 100 total.
Total over time.
Yes, over time. And Marcus,
all right, here we go.
So
JB.
pick your song, my friend, and get ready for it and dance, bitch.
Here we go.
Marcus.
There it is. Number one.
The first Super JB.
I need to start counting. That's number one.
Well, thank you guys for doing this. I always have hopes that this will last an hour, and we always go over an hour, and that's fine.
Dude, Jason, are you fucking kidding me? We never do an hour. We always do over.
We need to start at 8 or 8:30.
Marcus, are we hanging out tonight or what?
I had such fucking high hopes. Such fucking high hopes. And then what really pissed me off? In my head, I was gonna do today was gonna be our first call-in day. I want to do the whole show call-in, like we have our topics and let people call in, because I thought my daughter was flying in today.
Oh, she didn't?
She's flying in tomorrow. Daddy.
I mean, the last thing that I thought that we would talk about fighting for 20 minutes and not mention Will Smith. We went 20 minutes. We were literally talking about fighting for 20 minutes, and then we started talking about the Oscars. So like, we're gonna just have to maybe just maybe hour and a half. We'll shoot for an hour and a half next time. We'll shoot for 2 hours the next time, and then we'll be in a good block.
Someone asked about a Netflix kids show. I interviewed the creator. Yes, I interviewed the creator of Chico Bon Bon, Monkey with the Tool Belt.
All right, both of you. Do you realize I'm working on a Robert Bales project right now?
Yeah. We know
Yeah.
you got your shit going
So
on.
both of you, I'm gonna hit you up to interview both. So
Let's do it. I know that you're getting some fucking. There's some corporations backing that shit back. So
no. I mean, that's the
fine.
thing, dude. Marcus, the producers from Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they hit me up and like, yo, we want you to do this shit. And I'm like, I don't want to do this shit. I was like, yo, dude, this is bad. I don't want to do this.
I don't want. Well, fuck.
Right?
Take the bag.
Marcus,
Someone's, but that's the
Take the bag.
So yeah, take the bag, but also too, it's like as a historian, someone's got to do it.
I get that, but like, you know what I don't want honestly, you know what I don't want, Marcus, is you like do my my interviews, and I hear Marcus like pinging in my goddamn phone, like, bitch, you're wrong. Like, I don't want that. Like,
Look.
I was like, yo, motherfucker. Like, goddamn.
It is late where you guys are. I have people to call because it's late where I am.
All right,
And-
yo, Marcus, you want to fucking hang out a little bit?
Yeah, sure. We got to get off the show first.
Okay,
Thank you guys
yeah,
for
but like,
checking us out.
let's fucking hang out.
You can listen to the audio only version of this show on Thursday. The audio only version will be up. Tomorrow on This is Revolution, we'll be talking with Professor Cedric Johnson on his latest book, The Panthers Can't Save Us Now. And keep a lookout for Pascal and I's latest interview with Joy James. That's coming up on The Real News. Also, Pascal was on Deutsche World and PBS talking about what's going on in Jamaica, the reparations discussion. And Pascal was on David Feldman's show today talking about his piece in Newsweek about the racial wealth gap. So this is Revolution, all Pascal, all the time.
Except for Beyond the Red
That
Carpet
guy.
with Mac.
So thank you guys.
Pascal is like one of the smartest people I've ever read, man. Like, god damn it.
So let's go out with the old school.